Hello all, it's Philip here from Opes Trading Group. I just wanted to make a quick video for you guys to show you how to properly use Tradingview, especially for those that don't really know how to use it. So Tradingview is what we use for our charting as a trader. So I personally use it to analyze all my trades before executing them on my trading platform. So you can pretty much look at any currencies, stocks, cryptos, anything that's on a chart, you can pretty much find on TradingView. So when you open up the website, this is pretty much what you're going to get. Now you sign up and make an account. To start off with, you're going to have the free version, which will have ads running through it. I do have the Pro Plus, and I'll show you guys what that means in a second. Now you're going to have, some sort of list coming down the side here. You might even have these tabs open. You can drag them down in order to leave what you actually need. Now, as a Forex trader, I have all my currency pairs here and I've, put them in pretty much alphabetically. And when you click on any certain currency pair, you'll get this page here and you can pretty much press full feature chart, which will now open the actual charting software and the chart itself. So now on the side here, you can press this button up here, and this will pretty much hide this list for you, so you can actually have a bit more of bigger view of the chart itself. Looking at this here, so what you can do is you can create a list. So as you guys can see, I have a few of my lists over here that I do switch in between. So you can create a new list. Once you have your new list, there is the plus button here, which is how you can add onto your list. So for example, if we want to add Euro USD, we would see it right here. For example, you choose whatever feed you want to use and you press it and it will appear on your list. Now, once we hide this from here, we're going to look at the actual charts themselves. So whatever currency pair you're on will show up right here in the top left corner. So we are on AUD CAD. Now, you guys are going to have one time frame up here. The reason why mine are all lined up the way they are is because I have went and actually pressed that little star next to all the time frames that I use mostly, so they can all appear in this list up here. Up here is what you can find, what type of chart you want to look at. So if you want to look at bars, if you want to look at candles, line, and I've pretty much starred the ones I like to use, and this is where you can use them from. Now, in terms of indicators such as moving averages, you got your MACD, oscillators, you can find them all from this page over here. So you can press on indicators. You can, for example, type in EMA and you can press your moving average exponential to add it. You can type in MACD and you'll find it here. So any indicators that you want to find, you will find in this indicator section. There's also, public library. There's other people's indicators that you can go and find the news. However, this is where you will find them. Now, also on this bar, what I like to use is this little replay button. So what I can do is actually go back in time and, if you want to backtest, if you want to look at something, you can actually cut it out. You can press that little play button at the speed there, pause it. Let's say you want to go back once again, you can do that. Or you can actually move candle by candle with this little button over here. And what this will do right here is it will just bring you back to the actual time. And if you just want to get out of it completely, you can press the X right there. Now, this is your little save button. So whatever you've put on your chart and you want to save it, you can press this and it will save. Auto save should be on, every 10 minutes. And you can actually make new chart layouts and load a chart layout. So as you guys can see, I have some chart layouts that are unnamed. This is to go full screen. Escape is to go back. And this is a very handy feature where if you want to send this to someone, you don't necessarily have to actually save the image. You can just press on that little camera up here. You can copy that URL and send it to a friend or whoever you want to send it to, and they'll be able to view the chart just from that URL. If you actually want to save the image, you can, and you can even tweet it. You can also publish onto TradingView your IDs to share it with the community, and that's done right there. Now, starting from this list up here, what we have here is pretty much your menu. You have your profile. You have if you want to sign out, renaming, auto saving, all that can be found here. Now, looking at the actual features, starting off, we have your cross. From what you can see there, you can have a dot, an arrow. It's all personal preference, and then you have the eraser. In this list up here, what you got is your trend line. So you can actually press here. What you can see is my trend line is extended to the right. You have this little tab also, so you can actually make the line thicker through this button. You can change the color. You can actually change how faded, the opacity of the color. You have the style. You can have a dashed line instead of a straight line. And this is pretty much the settings button. So as you guys can see in the style, this is how I extend my trend line. So when I want to draw my trend line from one point to another and I want to see it extend into the infinity, I just use this little tool right there to extend it to the right. From what you can see, you got your coordinates, visibility. You can also, what we can do is add an alert. So if some people like to have an alert when the price touches their trend line, they want to know, they want to be notified. So you press this little alert, it will create an alert, and you put notify on the app. So if you have the app on your phone and show a pop-up, you can create it. And once you do create it, what you'll see is this little clock, little timer happen here. And this means you're going to be alerted as soon as the price in real time touches that trend line at any point. And then this is how we can delete it, and it will confirm it if you do have an alert on it. What we also have is you can measure angles. I mainly use horizontal lines. So as you can see, you can just place it, move it anywhere. You can lock it, so then you actually can't accidentally move it. That's another little feature that you can use. Once again, it's very similar to the trend line. This is your thickness and your style, and we can just delete it. Horizontal rays are a bit different from the actual horizontal line. So the rays is if you want to start it from a specific point, right? And it will only show from that point and extend into infinity to the right, and it won't go back from that point. Vertical lines can be used to show specific dates or times, and they work the exact same way. Just they're just vertical, not horizontal. We can have a cross line. We can even have an arrow if you want to point to something when you're sending it to someone. We have a ray. So pretty much this is like the trend line extended to the right, which is just a ray right there. We have an extended line. Parallel channels are another thing I use. So if you do one point to another, and it will actually give you a parallel line, which will create the channel. And now I have actually selected that I want to have this midline on my chart, just to give me an idea of where the midline is of that channel. Other than that, that's pretty much all I use from this. Now, in this little feature right there, we have all sorts of different fibs and other tools. The main tool, that you'll see a lot of traders actually use is this one right there. So it's the Fib Retracement. So it's where you can actually have your fib from the 100% to the 0%. Now, different people have different, little different numbers here for what they use on their fibs. I'm constantly changing or playing around mine. I do have my set ones that I always use. However, that's how you can change them. Once again, you can have a background, which is there. You can get rid of the background. You can have your levels in values, so in actual numerical numbers, or in percentages, which is what I like to use. You can have your labels on the right, in the center, on the left. Another thing you can have is you can extend the lines, which I don't do. You can have your level lines, so I have them dotted. You can actually have them as straight lines, as you can see right there. And that is pretty much the only feature that I really use from this over here. There is others, other people use different features. However, that's the main feature that you can see for traders when they talk about the Fibonacci tool. Now in this section right here, we have a few different things. So we have a brush, which we can use to draw freely. We have a highlighter where we can highlight certain areas. You can change the color obviously and highlight different sections of your chart. You can have a path, so if you want to go and draw something like that, right click to get rid of it. Rectangles, that's what I really like to use for supply demand areas. Draw your rectangles. You can have a rotated rectangle. An ellipse is pretty much if you want to draw a circle to highlight an area for someone or for yourself. A triangle, you can have a polyline, so this is a line that you can draw freely and it will highlight once finished. And you can have curve, double curve, and an arc. So all these are little tools that you can use to draw on your chart. Now, right here is this little undo button. So you can see I can undo all these things I just did on the chart. Right here in this little section, we have this really nice feature where you can add text. So you can, write, for example, supply area. If you're trying to highlight a supply area, and you can pretty much drag it to anywhere on the screen. You can change the text, the font, you can double click on it, do all that from here. Then what we have is, anchor text that's stuck to that specific point. We can add notes, balloons, price labels, arrows, and all sorts of things. In this section here, what we have is the patterns. So there's people that use, Elliott wave theories, cyclic lines, time cycles, all that can be found from this section right there. Now, this here is, a really important feature. So when you're trying to work out, for example, your trade, and let's say you want to go long from right there, you can, select where you'd like to put your stop loss. And this is where you'd like to put your TP. Right now, in doing that, you get your risk to reward ratio right there, which is really good because you want to work out if your trade has a good risk to reward ratio. You have your stop loss in pips, you have your TP in pips, and then you can go and work out, the lot size that you need to use based on the stop loss, the risk to reward, and you can input that into a risk position calculator in order to work out. However, this is a really nice tool to give you an idea of your trade, where your stop is, your risk to reward ratio, and pretty much what your whole trade is going to look like. Then you have the same in the opposite direction. So this is in a short, same thing. Now the stop's on the top, the TP is on the bottom. You can actually double click, you can play around with this. In terms of the inputs, if you want to put a specific, stop price that you want to round it up, say 982 for example, and you want to put 969, so it's nice round numbers, you can do that, and then it will tell you the amount of pips, the risk to reward, and you can work out the rest from there. You can actually have a date range, so how many days have gone by, so it will tell you there's 76 bars and 5 days and 4 hours from this point to this point. You can have a price range, so how much did the price actually move. This is in pips and in percentage. We can have a date and a price range, so then it's combined. So you have 67 bars, 4 days, 19 hours, and 100 pips up. If you go to the downside, it's shown minus 28.9 pips to the downside. You have the bar pattern, the ghost feed, projection, fixed range volume profile. This is pretty much, this only one is you can select from one point to another, and people use it to see was there a lot of volume in this specific area. In this right there, you have all your little stickers pretty much that you can use. I use them to use my arrows if I want to point out specific areas, and you can find all sorts of different stickers right here that you can use on your charts. Now this little ruler right there is a nice little handy tool. So if you just want to measure from one point to another, so you can see that's 90 pips from there to there. It's minus, it goes red. So you can use that ruler as a way to measure your your bars as well, and your price. What we have here is the magnifier. So as you can see, I'll just do that one more time. You can press the magnifying glass, you can highlight a specific area, and it will zoom right into that area for you, which is really handy if you want to come and have a nice close-up of that area. Now you can use that right there to move back out, and you can use your mouse to zoom out in the left and right, and this is in the up and down, in order to go back on the chart. This little magnet is really handy, so I'll show you guys what that is. So let's say I want to select a ray and you have your magnet on, you'll see it will magnet to the closest point. So when you're drawing these things and you want to really be specific, you want to have that magnet on. When I take that magnet off, I can pretty much move anywhere freely and it will not magnet to anything. As soon as I turn that on, you'll see it will start magneting to the closest points near where the cursor is. Now you can actually have a weak or a strong magnet. I like using a weak one because it's still strong enough. This little pencil is to stay in drawing mode. So pretty much if I want to select a trend line and I press that little pencil, as soon as I let go, I can now draw another one and another one. I don't have to keep selecting trend line every time I want to do a new one. This little lock will just lock everything on the screen. It will lock all the drawing tools. Now let's say I have a trend line, and let's say I just want to have a nice clear picture of the charts without any of the drawing tools. I can press that, it will hide all my drawings, and this will bring them back, right? And then you can select here, you can actually remove drawings, indicators, or drawings and indicators. We can just go remove drawings or remove them all. Or you can right click and press remove drawings from here. Now, in terms of the alerts, let's say we have an array and we want to know when the price hits it. You can right click and add alert on the horizontal array, and it's the same process as what I spoke about before. Okay, now when you actually, this is something I forgot to say, is when you add, let's say, a MACD, you can just double click on your screen and that will appear right there. Double click again, it will go. So if you double click on the actual MACD, it's going to make your MACD the full size of the screen. Double click again, it will go. Double click on the chart, it will be there. Now a nice little tool as well is, let's say you have multiple little drawings on the charts that you want to get rid of all at once, rather than clicking every individual one and pressing delete or pressing the bin. Now if you're on a Mac, you press command. If you're on a PC, press control, and you pretty much press command on my Mac, and I can select all these together. You see they're all highlighted. I press delete and it deletes them all at once right there, right? Now let's just add a few things there. Now for those that actually end up getting the pro version, you can select here the layout, and you can actually have two charts side by side. If you have the Pro Plus, you can get 4 charts side by side. So I want to show you, let's say we have 2 charts side by side on this. So we'll open that again. We'll select it. As you can see, that blue box around will select what you're on. And let's select AUD CAD so we are on the same chart. Now, as you can see, my layout isn't the same. So I can right click. I can say color theme where I've saved my themes, and I can go new theme. So now you can see they look the same and my themes are the same. Now I can right click here and say remove all drawings. Okay, this little button here will move you to the most current. So we are on the 4 hour on this chart, and let's go on the 1 hour on this there. Right, so you guys can see that I have these horizontal rays and they're not seen on this right there. Now let's say we want to have the same, the same horizontal rays on this chart. So what you're going to do is, firstly, you're going to have to right click, and let's go to, right there. As you can see, sync on all charts. So the symbol, we want to sync it on all. Interval, crosshair, time, and drawings. So when I move my crosshair here, you can see it's moving on the other chart, right? Now I'm going to select these horizontal rays. I'm going to right click on them. See this sync to all charts. Because they were there before, they're not going to appear. So if I do something new now, let's try and do something new. It's going to appear on my chart there. These two are not going to appear because they were selected before we opened up the second chart. So if I select these two now, right click, sync to all charts, then turn it back on, bang, you're going to see them appear right here on the chart. So this is if you want to use 2, and it's the same idea if you're using 4. And this is how you can pretty much link both of them. So if you want to analyze, let's say on this chart we want to go on the daily, and on this chart we want to be on the hourly. You want to have the outlook of the daily. You want to look on the hourly on this side, to get your precise entries, see what's happening on those lower time frames. This is the way to do it. Now once you're done, you can either press the full screen here. However, when you press that, you got to remember your other screen is still open. That's why your screen is surrounded by that blue box. So what you're going to have to do is actually go back to here and press the 1, and now this is your single chart view right there. Now there is a lot of other stuff that you can do. You can edit your indicators. There's a lot of more things that you can do. However, as a trader that's getting to know TradingView, this is all the basics that you are going to need pretty much to get started. So you know that your list is here. You can add everything you want to look at. So this is your watch list. All your tools I've just went through, I've discussed. Your time frames, your symbols. In terms of your indicators, you know where to add them from. And if you have any questions, guys, please feel free to contact me. And thanks for watching.